Novus Ordo Mass. On a Sunday, he arrived 40 minutes early at Our Lady of Assumption to say a rosary before Mass. It was a typical Novus Ordo Church, designed like an amphitheater with an altar as a stage and 3 groups of pews in a semi-circle around the altar. The tabernacle was out of sight. There was a choir platform on the left of the altar with an organ, drums, and guitars. He preferred back pews. A woman sat in the last pew of the center section. She glanced at him entering. She was seated, and next to her was a large purse on one side and a phone and papers on the other. Father went to the left section of pews, second pew from the back, and began his rosary. Twice during the rosary, the woman's phone rang. She answered the first call and spoke for a minute. It rang again, and she answered and took the phone to the vestibule to finish the call. He heard her talking as he said the rosary. 3 longtime parishioners entered. Though the church was nearly empty, they sat directly behind Father because they had always done so, and this was their pew. They talked constantly, and one of them had terrible body odor. They noticed when Father moved to the end of his pew. "How rude," they said. The choir entered. In the tradition of the Novus Ordo, they were terrible. The lead guitarist and vocalist dressed in a bodysuit like Elvis. They were loud, and the voices and instruments were out of tune. Father knew the Novus Ordo and the propensities of modern Catholic choirs. He had planned for this eventuality. He installed his earplugs. During the offertory, the woman with the phone was one of the ushers passing the long-handled baskets. The priest was a pleasant man, and his homily was friendly and warm. The frequent choir performers were loud and circus-like. Once again, Father waited for the Mass to conclude and made a hasty exit. He finished the rosary at his apartment. He had hopes for the third parish. It was a school parish with a kindergarten to 12th grade school between the church and the multipurpose building. He attended Mass a few times. But felt like a stranger. The Knights of Columbus ran a corned beef and cabbage fundraiser on the 4 Fridays before St. Patrick's Day. On the first Friday, Father bought 10 tickets, but the knights around the ticket table looked askance at him. The small dining area was full, so he got one meal to go and walked unnoticed past the balding, murmuring knights. The same thing happened on the second Friday. At Mass on Sunday, he looked for a rosary guide among the pamphlets in the vestibule when a woman approached and asked if he needed anything. She had a look of deep concern on her face, and he realized that strangers were not welcome. He never returned to church in Lubbock, except to get holy water for his prayer table and sick call set.